Hello, everyone. My name is Ned Dennis, and I'm the chairperson of the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame. We have a panel of three experts from New England. That's in the United States, far northeast corner. And I want to talk about the transition from open water swimming to marathon swimming, and then maybe climbing up the scale of marathon swimming. So, Charlotte, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be here today. My name is Charlotte Bryn. I'm the executive director of the Swimming Hole in Stowe, Vermont, and also the coach and owner of Bryn Swim, coaching swimmers for both pool and open water and marathon.
Elaine, you're next.
Hi, I'm Elaine Howley. I live just outside of Boston, and I'm a marathon and ice swimmer and founder of Channel Support Services, which crews swimmers on various long distance swims around the world.
Craig.
I'm Craig. I am the founder of Endurance Swimming. It's a marathon swim coaching program. And I also founded Beyond the Breakers, which is an open water swim conference that I'm sure we'll be talking about later.
So one interesting observation, if we had done this 15 years ago, none of you would have had any commercial aspect involved with the sport. So that's interesting. We've had an absolute explosion in participants and events and people doing full-time or part-time commercial activities in the sport. So it's been a big, interesting ride for the last 20 years. Charlotte, let's start with you. Tell us about, open water swimming. These are the people that go 500 meters. How do you take them from 500 meters to 10K?
Well, the first step is identifying that they have the desire, the determination, and the patience to be willing to put in the time. And so it's going from that 500-meter swim, evaluating what is their swim fitness. So how many days a week they swim, what's their swim technique or their aquatic line looking like, how do they fall in the water, and then most importantly, what's their comfort or relationship in the water like. So with someone starting at that 500-meter base, fantastic that they've got a little bit of volume under their belt, and it's building up that consistency of 3 to 4 days a week, building up to 2,000 meters a swim in an environment they're comfortable with. For many people, the most benign, controlled environment is a pool. But that's going to depend on how seaworthy they are. If it's someone who's got a lot of experience in outdoor swimming, starting off in that is fantastic as well. So building with someone to build a foundation of endurance for the first 6 to 8 weeks, then transitioning them into adding some intensity and building some more volume. And then those last couple of months before their 10K, building them up to overload and fatigue. So they've got maybe a 2-a-day swim, or they might have a longer swim one day and a shorter one the next day to mimic getting extended and tired, then recovering and getting stronger for the next week. There's also a really big mental component. It's not just a physical thing, it's building up deserved confidence. So they not only have the physical capacity, but they have that reinforcement of knowing they've done the work, they've put the time in, and they've overcome any hurdles or Achilles heels. And that might be a fear of not being able to see the bottom. It might be a fear of swimming consistently for a mile without stopping. And it depends on someone's background, whether they're ready in 3 months or 6 months. I prefer a longer transition, but I think the key takeaway is everyone's different. And we start with where that individual's at for their baseline and build from that. And, encourage them and help support them to enjoy the process, because swimming's fun. We want to reinforce that it's a joy to be in the water. And if we put it across as a hard slog, it's going to feel like that to them. And I think there can be some fun sprinkled in there, which I learned from you, Ned, many years ago.
Elaine, take us to the L Street baths in Boston. You've got people down there who dip and then start to swim a little bit longer. Give us some real examples. You can leave the names out, or you can name and shame them. Don't really mind. How do you spot them? How do you get them before they run away? And how do you bring them up that journey?
Yeah, my dear friend Martha Wood is a terrific example of this. She turned up one day in the fall, probably 2013, 2014, somewhere in that time period. And she had just been through a terrible divorce and a medical trauma. And she was in a wetsuit, and she had been a water polo player in college and somehow got the notion in her head that she should come down to the L Street bathhouse and try swimming a little bit. And she was very tentative at first, but she turned up at a couple of swims, and we kind of saw her in the locker room, and it was like, who's the lady in the wetsuit? One of these things. And um, I think it was kind of a curiosity thing. Like for our group, I think we really enjoy learning who the other people are and reaching out to them and making a friend more than we are trying to mold a swimmer, so to speak. So, like with somebody like Martha, we started talking to her in the locker room, and the next thing you know, she's climbing the ladder and she's losing her wetsuit, and now she is a Triple Crown swimmer. And I think a lot of it is just trying to make it an inclusive, supportive environment where we reach out to others around us, and try to make a community out of it. I think more than anything, it's about the community.
It's interesting what you say. I think one of the things when I look back at our experience in Ireland was literally saying hello to people you hadn't seen before.
Yep.
Literally saying hello.
Yep.
And whether that was a welcoming environment, whether it was being inclusive. The other thing that you said that really resonated with me is a lot of the swimmers we get start in wetsuits. Sometimes they never get out of the wetsuit. Sometimes they
And
do.
that's okay.
And then sometimes they go back to wetsuits. But
That's
we
fine.
don't care if they've got a wetsuit, if they have flippers, if they've got gloves, if they got a neoprene cap. We've drawn the line on those fans that they hold in front of them, and like Sequest, they can zip around. We don't have any of those, but literally anything else that they want to use.
Seriously, whatever it takes to get in and enjoy it, and the more the more the merrier. I mean, we just want accomplices out there. We want partners in crime. We want people to swim with, people to joke around with, people to sit in the sauna with and bitch about the gossip and all of this. Like that's all we want, is just friends. And I think that has turned into a really vibrant community. I mean, even this morning I was down at L Street. I went for a dip with my friend Polly, and there was a young woman who had come in from the locker. She was in the locker room, and she had come from like the fitness area. And she said, "Oh, was the water cold today?" And I said, "No, it was beautiful. It was about 68 degrees. I was like, I wouldn't recommend going right now because it's dead low and the bottom's really gross. So if you don't have shoes, it's not a great time to swim." But I said, "But we'll be back on such and such a day at this time. You should come swim with us." And she was like, maybe I will. And like that's where it starts. It's that one-off conversation with somebody who seems vaguely interested in what you're doing. And then the next thing you know, in 5 years' time, she might be our next Triple Crowner.
Greg, you're from a part of the world. You don't have the same kind of swimming pool that Charlotte has. You don't have the history of the L Street bathhouse. Tell us about the location you have and the community you have around you.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a budding community. I think we actually have a lot of really strong marathon swimmers. I think Martha's in our neck of the woods as well. So I'm on the North Shore of Massachusetts. So it's right outside Boston, but you throw traffic in the mix and no one wants to go there. So we have a lot of disjointedness. And one thing that I find is you get a lot of people who are transitioning from triathlon or who are injured runners who are looking to, just make that transition into something that is equally difficult or maybe more difficult and still a challenge, but something that they feel comfortable doing. And I think in our neck of the woods, it's definitely very similar to what Charlotte and Elaine are saying. It's building that community, and really it's just saying hi. So one thing that I do is I offer just a free swim, because I think a lot of people who are newer to the sport, safety is a big concern, and not knowing where to start and having some general guidance is a big concern. And for me, I just like sharing the knowledge. And I think that is the major stepping stone for a lot of these people where they come their first week and there's no judgment. They come in a wetsuit and they just walk the first week. They get in the water and they walk at, their hip or their chest. And then the next week they're starting to swim here and there. So I think we have some very strong swimmers, then we have some budding swimmers. And for me, my goal is to get as many of those budding swimmers, I guess, bitten by the bug and starting to do things that they're excited about. If they're not enjoying it, if it's not fun, it's not going to last. And that's really important, is just give them a healthy respect for the ocean, give them the safety, give them a place where they can test out things without the judgment, learn some skills. And then I think that really helps them transition to become those bigger, take on those bigger challenges and not be scared to test and fail and then try again. And I think that's where I come at it from, is that angle. And that's really where I found my bread and butter in the North Shore community of Massachusetts.
Let's talk about something very specific for each of you in turn. Talk to me about a swimmer that arrived to you already with a dream. Then we're going to get to the second question to come later, is like, what sneaky techniques do you use to plant dreams in people that don't seem to have them or acknowledge them? So Charlotte, let's start with you. Tell us about somebody that came with the dream.
So last year we had a swimmer, and she really wanted to overcome her fear of the open water. She had been pool swimming for a number of years, and she would come and do about 2,000 in the pool. And, in Vermont, we've grown a healthy open water community. And in the summer, the pool gets a little quieter and everyone's drifting outdoors. And you could see her longingly look of wanting to be going out and joining that. And so she came up to the lake, and she did her first ever open water swim of a mile out to Horseneck Island. And on the way out, she got a bit of lake weed stuck on her goggle, and her big achievement was not standing up and running on the water to get to the shore. And it was huge for her in vocalizing that she was scared of it. And, I let her know that, we all have fears and it's okay. It's about the more we face them, the more comfortable we get. So that year, someone swam her very first 10K swim. She did it in a wetsuit, and she came back to the swim pod in the pool, and we were all excited. And I could see Alva kind of looking, and she came up to me later and she said, "I'd like to swim 10K." And she said, "I think you probably think I'm crazy." And I'm like, "No, I think that's absolutely amazing." So she ended up doing a tandem non-wetsuit with her husband for 10K. They worked away and they built up their distance in the pool over the winter. And then as we got into spring and summer, they added in open water swims together as a couple. And it was amazing. They were absolutely thrilled. They had a bit of chop in the water, and which made it even better. And it was just, it was a dream of overcoming fear of the unknown in the open water. And she went above and beyond that.
So she spotted somebody in your community that did a 10K, who wasn't a superwoman or a superman or an Olympic champion, and said, "I fancy doing that." Elaine, how about your side? Somebody who arrived with a dream.
Somebody who arrived with a dream. Okay, we recently had a young man come to us at Mauza. His name's Isaac Vernon, and he's named to watch. He's going to be doing a lot of big marathon swims in the coming years, I think. I met him originally about 2 years ago down in Florida at the 24 miles in 24 hours event that Jen Dutton runs down there. And he was brand new to long distance swimming, had only just learned to swim properly about a year and a half before. And he's fast and he's strong and he's young and he's fit, and all of these things lined up. But the most important piece was that he had the drive, he had the mental, and he was really kind of enamored with the whole concept of long distance open water swimming. And so he started asking questions like, where do I go from here? What's next? And then a couple of weeks ago, probably about a month and a half ago now. He reached out to me and he said, "Hey, I just did around 20, I did the 20 bridges around Manhattan, and I don't feel like I'm ready for my season to be finished yet. Uh, I'm looking to do something big in like the 24 to 25 mile range. What should I do?" And I said, "Well, we can figure out, we can do this on short notice. We can figure out how to get you a Boston Light Triple, which is 24 miles in the Boston Harbor if you want saltwater. Or I would recommend going up and doing the search for Memphre up in Vermont, which is 25 miles if you want freshwater." And he thought about it a little bit and he said, "No, I think the ocean is speaking to me." He said, "I want to do the triple." And so this young man, he raised $12,000 for a mental health charity, dedicated the swim to a friend who he had lost to suicide. And it was incredibly meaningful. And he came with such a well-formed, crystallized dream. It was like a piece of cake to support him. I mean, it was really just figuring out the date with the best tides, connecting him with a local pilot, and then just sending him off on his way. And it was a really special thing for him and for us. I think everybody had a great day.
Greg?
So this past year, I had an athlete actually in Ireland. He had this dream. He's like, "I want to swim Lough Derg." I've never heard of it. It was like I think around a 50K swim, and I was like, okay. And he came with, he had all the logistics prepared, but he had no real background in swimming. So very similar kind of story to Isaac, just a super young guy, really fit, and just really enjoyed swimming. So learned to swim. He was pretty good. But he had no open water experience. Like quite literally, I think the longest open water swim he had done was like a 5K. So you want to go from 5K to 50K in a year. And, but very similar story. He had the drive. Like he showed he was committed to this goal and he was open to learning, which made it so much easier. It wasn't a constant battle of like, "Oh, we need you to do this." It was always, "Oh, I need you to scale this way and I need you to hit these swims and do this on your long swims." And it was never questioning. It was more asking questions, which to me, there's a difference. One is learning, one is not trusting. And he ended up doing the swim. It took him about 17 hours, but he just had this goal and he went after it. And I think it was really fun to see that growth and see someone so young and so new to the sport really just embracing it and going with the ups and downs that come with this. And he was also doing it for a mental health organization. And it was really a rewarding experience. But I think the hardest part was the mental side. I think Elaine mentioned it, Charlotte mentioned it. It's you're alone for a lot of it. You're not feeling good for a lot of it. You're struggling for a lot of it. You have no confidence. So then you do pretty dumb things when you lack confidence in terms of training, and you don't listen to the right people the right way all the time. And I think that was, for someone who's young and driven, that was probably the hardest part to rein someone like that in. And but once you do, and you figure out what gets them ticking and what motivates them, it really helps to get them through the training and through the process. But it's when they have that goal, usually they are a more driven athlete, and they will do whatever it takes to get it done, which makes it really fun.
Okay. I'm gonna start by telling you the recent sneaky thing I've done, and then Charlotte will come to you because I'm sure there's sneaky in you somewhere. So we have a vibrant community here in Cork, Ireland, but we've got a couple of people, 3, 4, 5 of them, stuck at about 6K. So one by one, I talked to them, and I reminded them we have a 10K list on the web. I showed them the 10K cap for Cork open water swimmers, and I pointed to the 10K marathon glass sticker for the car. And I said, we're organizing boat cover and kayaks for the Bandon River. It's got land on both sides. It's very gentle. It's fairly shallow. And we're going with the flow and with the outgoing tide. And at the end of that, you're going to be a marathon swimmer. So I said, I'm just going to give you the dates in a couple weeks, but just planting the seed. One of them said, it's like more of a stake, Ned, you planted than a seed. So Charlotte, tell us about the sneaky things you do to create a dream or a goal for people.
It's as all of you have referred to, seeing that spark and glimmer in someone and their ability that they don't often see. And my approach will often be, hey, you're really capable of doing this. And in addition, these 2 weeks of the year, the water is the warmest. It's traditionally low wind. And if we start a swim here, finish it there, we've got a lee of the wind round here. We'll have 3 or 4 days we can choose and be pancake flat most of the time. And if not, that's a bonus. And they really get sold on the beautiful vista and the smooth, glassy water. And if it's not, that's like a bonus toughness thing for them. And I think if they start to visualize themselves in that water with you and a couple of other people, they're all in.
We have some advertisement that appears on television here, and they say it's about financial products, and they say, relying on past performance is no indication of future performance. Yeah, it'll be flat as a pancake. There'll be no wind. Yeah. Elaine, sneaky stuff you've done. Okay, Charlotte, we heard you.
I drop references to cool swag. Like if there's an event that's got like a cool t-shirt or sweatshirt or medal or something, I'll be like, oh, well, I got this really cool medal at such and such a place. You should go try it next year. Like that. I'm not above doing that. But I think also a lot of what Charlotte was saying resonated too. It's like that you recognize that spark in the other person. And as you get to know these people, you figure out what turns them on, for lack of a better term, like just the thing that is going to click for them. And I've been in this sport for such a long time now that if somebody says, oh, I really want this kind of a situation, it's like, oh, well, you should try such and such a swim, and being able to match the desire or the interest with the available product. If, again, for lack of a better term, it's like all of a sudden you get somebody who goes, oh yeah, that sounds really cool. Where do I sign up?
Matt? Sneaky technique, Matt.
So for me, I usually ask like what their end goal is, like end goal, right? Because I feel like I want to do the English Channel. Then it's very easy to not talk them into a bigger, like a big swim, but like, look, there's stepping stones we need to do. You want to do a 10K, but like, honestly, it's not that much training to go from a 10K to like a Boston Light swim. It's not as big of a jump as you think, and you're already doing the training. So why don't we tackle one of these other swims that maybe it's a little bit longer in distance, but once they do that and they see like the world they've entered, it's a pretty quick path to that success. So I think for me, it's finding out what do they really want to achieve? Like, why are they getting into this? What do they want to achieve? And then seeing how like I can use that end goal to push them to, closer to that and move them into the next level. And that usually keeps them motivated too. And they're struggling. It's like, oh, we're doing this because, this is where you told me you wanted to be. And reminding them like, this was your decision. This is your choice. This is something you're excited about. So let's keep moving forward.
You made the mistake of telling me once. Now I remember. Holding it against you.
I wrote it down.
And Ned, I don't think any of this is actually very sneaky at all. I think we're being very blatant and obvious about what we're trying to do. I mean, we think we're being sly, but we're really not. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
So I'll tell you one story, then I'll tell you a second story. We'll go down to Craig in a second. So we had our Christmas event one year, and one of the guys who hadn't done a marathon was there, and he had a few drinks, and he said to me, I'd go to that swim in Hong Kong if it didn't cost €3,000. And I said, it costs €3,000. It's like 300. You're thinking like Hong Kong dollars. And he paused for a second. He go, well, I'd go to that swim if somebody would go with me. And I said, I'll go with you. He went, oh no. Oh. He rebuilt his courage until the start was just outside the shark net. Um, but the other story I'll tell you is I did a conference with Steve Munatonis in California a few years ago, and I did a short talk. And at dinner that night, I sat next to this man, a little bit younger than me, but not a young man. And he said, "I'm sold. I'm going to do all this stuff. I got an English channel, the Triple Crown, do all this stuff." And I said to him, "Okay, well, my first advice to you is go get your physical done first." He called me up 2 weeks later. He said, "I think you saved my life. I had like a 95% blockage in my artery and they put some stents in, but I'm still going for that stuff." He now has the Triple Crown. His son has the Triple Crown. And I met the other son who's a better swimmer than the other two. So with that lead in, Craig, you've got a big seminar coming up. Talk to us about it. I think you've got some super guest speakers. You might want to introduce any of them that happen to be on the call.
Yeah, so I last year we did our first Beyond the Breakers Open Water Swim Summit, and it really just stemmed from um, resources and community building. And Charlotte and Elaine are both, they spoke last year and they're coming here back again this year, and we're thrilled to have them. They just have such a wealth of knowledge that's great for the community. And but I started it mainly because it's so hard to find reputable resources, because with social media, like anyone can go on who's done like a 10K and say, "Oh, you do all these things and I'm a coach." And they don't necessarily have, like, sure, they did something and they have their experience, but that doesn't mean they know how to coach or they're the best person suited for the role. So in an effort to try to pull together like resources for people to better inform, like, this is the group of people you can go to with any question. They're not going to nickel and dime you. It's not about money. It is about just helping you achieve your goals and be part of something bigger. And that's where it stemmed from. And last year we had a really positive first year. I was very happy with it and excited about it, and learned a lot. And I think from the feedback I got last year going into this year, I'm even more excited. Like, last year was just I think the starting point of something that I'm really excited about. And to have the support of people like Charlotte and Elaine and Bob Fernald and others in our community, it really shows, I think, there's a lot of knowledge, and it's just about getting it in front of people who we're talking about, who have a dream or who don't know where to go from. How do I get from 500 yards to English Channel? And it's all about just helping guide them and making sure that they're doing it in safe ways, in fun ways, and just helping them achieve their goal and do something really awesome.
So each of you have talked about almost an individual approach. And now, Craig, this sounds like mass production of marathon swimmers. You've got an assembly line of speakers, talks, knowledge sharing, and out the other end are going to pop these people going, "Here I go."
I mean, I think the goal is to inspire, it's to educate, it's to connect. I mean, it's all of those things, right? Like, if you are like in the North Shore, like I said, we have a lot of we have Triple Crown swimmers. Like, I know myself and a handful of others. But I don't think people who are newer to the sport know where to find us. So it's about, allowing them a place like, "Oh, I'm interested in this," or "I want to learn more about this," or "I know nothing and I'm just excited about this." So it's not so much about popping out tons of marathon swimmers. It's about helping them figure out, well, what is your goal? Here's all the opportunities available to you, whether it's a 500, a mile, a 10K, and then help to inspire them and give them the tools to put them on the right path so that they can at least get closer or connect with one of the people who spoke to help them after the event, make the progress that they're looking to make in their life.
Well, I'm going to wrap this up with some advice to aspiring New England swimmers who look at the open water and wonder. Um, these three individuals, they're alive, they're around. You can talk to them; they'll return your calls. One of the things that I would say to people is, if a 23-year-old PhD student who's not particularly interested in finishing their thesis comes to me and they want to train for the English Channel, they can do a couple of sessions a day. They can do, 40,000 meters a week, probably, no problem at all. I've got a woman in her, somewhere between a little over 30. I don't know her age, but I'll take a guess over 30. She's got 3 kids under the age of 8 and is running a business. She's not going to be doing 2 sessions a day. She's not going to be doing 40,000 meters a week. She doesn't have the physical time to do it. and you don't recover as quickly and those kinds of things. So these three people on the call can help you understand kind of how what you can do to fit it into your life. Going on social media, following the wrong person who's nothing like you doesn't help. And the second thing, which Elaine referred to, these three individuals are at the very least New England open water mafia. Elaine has quite a global reach. Charlotte's got a reach going all the way down to New Zealand, you can tell from her accent. And sometimes it's all about trying to help you tailor, if not your end goal, but as Craig talked about, those next 3 or 4 steps. Do you need something before you go to Boston Light? If you've got a really warm lake swim in India planned, swimming at the Elstree Bass in February in salt water that's 6 degrees may not be useful training. It might be great socially, but it mightn't be the best stepping stone to doing 35K gateway to India in 32 degrees Celsius water. So I would encourage people, these three people are really easy to find. You can actually find them all at Craig's upcoming Beyond the Breakers session that's coming up. Reach out to people, pick their brain, and then find your mentors and start planning your open water career. With that, thank you very much, folks, and we wish you all of the best in this upcoming session, and you're continuing to turn out marathon swimmers who are smiling at an incredible rate. So thank you very much. For anybody interested, the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame has about 140 videos of all different topics. In a couple seconds, you can see where the subscription is and get access to all of those things. Those may or may not be working for you, but they'll certainly give you some basic information. So again, thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much, Ned.